I feel like this is probably the case for every YouTube channel ever at the beginning, which is we're not expecting it to be anything. If it works, great. If it doesn't, oh well, it was fun while it lasted. You know, if it makes us $10, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's fine too. It was, I think it was like a year mark, maybe 1 year around the channel's
I'm not sure
lifespan that we were like, we had the discussion of, no, let's just make this full-time job. It's not.
Yeah.
One of the biggest motivation is office jobs kind of suck. I'm sorry, but like the motivation is not going back to that.
3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Reactorverse podcast, brought to you by Passionfruit. Today I am joined by the dynamic duo of Simone and George, best known as the collectively CineBinge. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, I know it's been a busy month for you both in the past month of May, so I appreciate you guys coming on. Hope you're refreshed and back in the game, so to speak.
Yeah. It's already missing vacation, but it's okay. This is fun too.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I've been following with the channel for a little while now, just getting to know more people in the space. And I found your channel a little while ago, and what I loved really about it is the fact that you two are a very, comfortable duo, so to speak, on camera, and that you've been able to really forge sort of a space for yourself, not as just a team, but as individuals. When I watch your channel, I really see that you guys have very individual thoughts and feelings about things, but you complement each other so well.
Oh, thanks.
I really want to sort of
Thank you.
Examine that.
I'm glad that came through. Yeah.
Definitely. I think part of that is just, you've mentioned before in other channels and other videos that you've been friends for a long time. So I kind of want to start there. What is the history between you two? Like, how did you two meet?
I guess through friends, through school is basically
it's
the long and the short of it.
Yeah. Quite a few years now. A decade almost. Yeah. We've known each other for a long time. We have like the same friend group, and that's yeah.
That makes sense. That's how simple it is.
Yeah.
When you started the channel, whose idea was it to get this going? Was it a mutual, endeavor? Did one introduce the other to it?
It was, I remember the exact day, actually. I was working at my office job. Well, I don't remember like the day, like the specific day, but I was working up at the reception desk at my office job, and George sends me a reaction video of Lord of the Rings. And I was like, hey, look at this. Isn't this nifty? And then I think it was George's idea from the start.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Because it was a pandemic.
Yeah.
Prior to that, so as soon as the pandemic started, it was at the same time that I moved across the country from Vancouver to Montreal. Mm-hmm. But prior to moving, I used to go over to Simone's house, and then we would watch I think it was WandaVision was the last thing we did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we just watched WandaVision at her place. So we were already watching some stuff together, and also the annual
we watched Lord of the
Rings marathon. Yeah, so once I moved, that didn't get to happen anymore, and then I like a lot of people did, started watching reactions during the pandemic. Right. And then I sent that to Simone, and I was like, why don't we just turn on the camera, because we kind of already do this. Right? And now we have an excuse to do it over Discord.
Right.
Online. And because of the pandemic, we were both working from home. So we just had a lot of extra time without needing to commute.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, as I've had, a handful of people on so far, the pandemic really did, serve as a catalyst for a lot of people to sort of kickstart their reaction channels and just give them the opportunity to, just the time, as you said, but also the tools that the world sort of developed around it. When you started during that time, did you have any sort of production background or experience that helped with like the tools that you needed to put together to get that remote reaction going?
I did for editing software. I don't know, like, okay, how PG or how what's the rating that you want to go with here for your
as far as you want?
podcast?
No problem.
Okay, cool. So those of who've seen our Boogie Nights reaction, on there I mentioned that in the past I did work in the adult industry as a cinematographer, as well as like editing what I shot for quite a few years. And because of that, I did have a background in knowing how to use Premiere and how to edit, and I already had some familiarity with, you know, YouTube and kind of a basic understanding of the copyright rules and stuff like that. So it wasn't that hard of a step for me to take to like just put the footage together and just edit.
Right.
It was mostly just us being like getting used to being comfortable and like verbalizing our thoughts,
which is still difficult to this day. Yeah. And then as far as like I think I got this mic as soon as I could afford it. But I didn't really have any like experience with stuff except for a little like voiceover stuff that I did way back when. But yeah, I had to learn how to do the things.
You had to film with your phone for quite
when we
a while.
started the channel, I was watching the stuff on a little iPad, filming with my phone, all on this like fold out like couch dinner like table, like this really little dinky like table. And then like as soon as we were done, I would like pack it up and tuck it away because I lived in a really tiny apartment. And yeah,
you had a rougher
it
time
was
at the beginning than I did, because
it was weird. I almost kind of miss it because I was like on my couch, like it was different, but it was like it was definitely very low production value. So I know why we did like we changed, but I'm like at the same time I kind of like I like my couch. That background was cool.
Like my job at the time was a project manager, right? So I had like daily meetings all the time. That was basically my entire job, which is meetings, team meetings. And so the company that I worked for at the time gave us a little budget for like setting up office at home. So of course I'm gonna buy a camera and a mic, and then they gave me an office desk that was big enough to set up everything. So it was already kind of there. All the products, all the requirements. So I got a lot luckier than Simone, but you power right through it, even with like really early on, before even the couch, you had to like sit on a little chair for a while. I remember
there was we would it was okay. It worked. We made it work.
And your decade-old computer.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh yeah. I think when we first started, I couldn't like my computer was from like. It was a Mac, and it was from like 2010. It was like it couldn't sustain anything.
Hey, those old Macs can hang on. I had one of those for a good while before I had to switch up. Yeah,
I definitely like ran it into the ground.
There's a nostalgic sort of feeling about those early days, that early run of like putting things together, what you have, trying to just slap together to get the product out. You mentioned the sort of idea of just getting comfortable on camera. Was that a significant learning curve in itself to be comfortable, be able to sort of articulate yourself on camera in a very easy manner?
I think it's for me personally, it was just about being comfortable, and I'm gonna mess up, and I just have to be okay with that.
Being okay with embarrassing yourself. And being okay with being criticized. That is a big thing to adjust to, because it's like you can't please everybody, and no matter who you are, someone's gonna not like you, and that's fine, right? Not everyone's gonna like you, but I think on day to day, when you're just like a regular person and you live through your life, you don't really engage with that often, right? Because let's say you go to a job and you work in an office with, I don't know, 100 people. That's a big office. Right. There's going to be a few people that doesn't like you, but they will just avoid you and not interact with you probably, right?
Yeah.
Online, it's different. And even if the percentage of people that dislike you is the same, 1% of 1,000 comments feels a lot more than just like 1% out of an office that avoids you.
Right.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Having like 10
absolutely.
people tell you, you suck, you're terrible, like go away. It's like, yeah. So that's definitely a thing to have to learn to adapt to and get used to. But also mostly it's verbalizing our thoughts. Because at the beginning, I definitely had to like very intentionally keep track or try to count how long it's been since one of us said something for the sake of editing afterwards.
Right.
Because I knew that if we don't speak for a long time, which is how you normally are when you watch a movie or show, even with friends, there's not that much of that chunk I can use in editing.
Yeah.
I would have to, I can't just let the movie play. That's just how you get copyright problems. So it was a lot more like forcefully trying to have something to be said out loud in the early days. And it definitely felt a lot more rigid and awkward. Yeah.
There's a learning curve, and just like that adjustment of trying to be able to vocalize those internal thoughts that naturally go through your head, but for the sake of, like you said, editing, there is a practice to it, an art form, so that way there's like beats that you can sort of hit, help yourself along the way. For the reaction space itself, were you familiar with reaction videos, reaction channels prior to the channel? Before, just to say the Lord of the Rings video you had mentioned, were there any other channels you had seen in the past?
Not really, no, not until we really like dug into it, and then of course like made like connections and friends with other YouTubers and stuff, and I think maybe like music reactions was it? Like I'd heard more of those.
Yeah, I saw a few of those. The Nightwish Army watching reactions. I participated in that for a bit. I remember, for example, really, really early on, like Red Wedding, when that was fresh on TV, right, for Game of Thrones. That was like the beginning of that with what's his name at the bar?
Oh, Sean Tank Top.
Sean Tank Top, yeah, that one, right? Like I saw a few of those. But once we decided to do this, there was a period of like, let's just watch and research and learn and like see what the common themes and not walk down the same path of mistakes, right? Or try to, at least.
Sort of taking inspiration from others, like is a big part of it, especially in the space where so much of it follows a very similar sort of format, and trying to find your own voice in that is like really important. When you started, was there any sort of initial strategy to what you decided to watch, in terms of like what movies and like kind of how you're going to go about it?
We definitely notice, the big hits for the genre across the channels, and we're like, okay, well, those are going to be the ones. And there were some discussion. I don't remember what came out of that discussion because it's been a while, but there was discussions about, do we do that like right off the bat? Do we save it for later? How, it eventually just kind of became like, I don't know, just watch whatever we want to. Because I feel like this is probably the case for every YouTube channel ever at the beginning, which is we're not expecting it to be anything. Right. It was just, if it works, great. If it doesn't, oh well, it was fun while it lasted. If it makes us $10, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So we did the research to learn what the format and structure tends to be, and then try to figure out what could work for us. But in terms of what to watch first and how, we just kind of gave up and just decided to do whatever. And then once people started recommending, then it helps. Then we can go, okay, let's just go with the recommendations.
Right.
Yeah.
Being, again, remote, on camera, that's a really important element of how the channel began, how the channel operates. It's a important component of how you sort of carry yourselves, because you're not in the room together, and sometimes that can be difficult to sort of overcome. Were there any growing pains in that specific regard of trying to find the rhythm there, from the remote reactions?
Yeah, when we film, we don't see each other.
Yeah, that shocked a couple people. Like, we just like turn on our own camera and just go. And we never
we only hear each other. So at the beginning, I think at the beginning there were a few times that I was like, that you physically did something, or I
and
physically
you have,
did
like, no
something,
idea.
and we have no idea it happened. So
Yeah.
so it was just an awkward silence, and then afterwards we're like, wait, you did that?
But then I
So,
think that there's like,
It's a practice.
but there was like some magical moments too that happened with like, I don't know how, but like where we both just like end up saying the same thing or like doing the same thing in a reaction that like, it just, I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah. So that was a big growing pain, is to like remember that the other person can't see us. So say it, don't just
Yeah.
act it out. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's really interesting. And the fact that you two are not only in your own homes, you have your own lives to consider and sort of schedule around. How do you handle avoiding burnout on two fronts when you both have separate lives going on that you sort of have to manage around for scheduling purposes and just find the priorities just to sync up between the two of you?
Well, we have a spreadsheet.
That's a good answer.
Project management. Yeah.
It's color coded. It works. We just put all of our stuff in there and have meetings about, how to make things work the best way we can.
I think we found a good middle ground now, because there were some swings back and forth at the beginning to like figure out where is too much and where is not enough, just to keep the channel growing. And then I think we're pretty good now in the middle. There were, I would say, once or twice in the beginning, especially, that like I started to feel burnout, and which would have been terrible that early on. But that was because I still had my normal job and this. And it was just way too much. I was just on the computer like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week,
right?
And it was getting way too much. And I would have dreams about the freaking computer. Yeah. And it was, I think it was like a year mark, maybe 1 year around the channel's
I'm not sure
lifespan that we were like, we had the discussion of, no, let's just make this full-time job. It's not.
Yeah. I remember being very scared because it's, to me, like, it just, I was brought up like, you need like a steady like 9 to 5. You have your, like, it's, and I just, it was just so weird to me that this could actually work as a job. And
but I guess motivation helps a lot now with like not having burnout, because I'm not anywhere near burnout now. And one of the biggest motivation is office jobs kind of suck. I'm sorry, but like at least I haven't had good experiences with having to go to an office and like, just work on something that the owner cares about. And that's it. It's just try to help their dream come true, and I don't. So the motivation is not going back to that.
That makes a lot of sense. I've definitely found that to be a common theme, amongst a lot of people in this space, myself included.
Really fortunate that we get to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fortunate position to be in. I respect and feel for everyone who can make that transition from passion to full time with this stuff, because it's difficult. It's difficult to get to that level, and to, like you said, Simone, to make that leap of like, okay, I'm going to give up the security to sort of, jump into this. Did you have any sort of prerequisites for that, in that regard, of like, kind of like, we need to make sure we're, hitting this sort of metric, or, we're comfortable in this, this way before we sort of start that?
No, I don't think so. It was, I mean, it was
enough to cover rent.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was the main thing.
As long as, I think that was our benchmark, was that it can cover rent for both of us. And I guess, groceries too, like basic living needs. Yeah, that was it. If it matched those goals for both of us and sustained it that way for like maybe a couple of months, screw it, let's just do it. Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying.
It can be scary. Yeah, for sure. And the name CineBinge for the channel. It's a great name. Conveys everything you need to know about the brand very well. Was that a difficult process to like, sort of lock down that name? Were there any alternatives you guys considered?
There was. I wish I had the text thread still, but I changed my phone number. And so
I remember like one or two, but it wasn't that long of a discussion. I think it was like
a bit of there's a bit of back and forth, and I really wish that I had like the screenshots or something from our conversation. I think one of the ideas was not like we vetoed a bunch of them, and the only one I can remember that we vetoed because it was like not very nice was Idiot Box, because like the TV used to be called like Idiot Box, and we're kind of like George and I are kind of dumb sometimes. We're kind of just a couple of idiots doing stupid shit. So I think
one of them was like West and East or something because we're in different coasts. And then I figured, oh yeah, but also
we're binging cinema,
like ethnicity.
Oh, that too. Yeah,
maybe.
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that could work, but it was just too complicated.
Yeah.
And then CineBinge came about. It sounded like Cinebuns, which is why the logo is Cinebuns.
Right.
Simone thought it was cute.
Yeah.
That was it. I got tired of the conversation, so we just went with it.
Wow,
hey, that's the best
George.
time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm learning
that's
a
when you
lot
know
here.
that's what it is. That's when you know. Movies are obviously the bread and butter of the channel. Just watching, all movies that you can under the sun. What are your personal backgrounds with film that sort of gave you the opportunity to be able to share those first time experiences with us on camera?
Well, I mean, it's kind of great because like George has watched stuff that I haven't watched, and I've watched stuff that George hasn't watched, so we can do a lot of like I'm showing George the rom-coms and stuff like that, and then I don't know, it kind of worked.
Yeah, it's not like I haven't seen movies before. I've watched a lot of Chinese cinema and Hong Kong cinema and Taiwan movies and Japanese movies and Korean movies growing up because that's like my childhood was in Asia, was in China, right? And those are the movies that my parents introduced to me, and that stuff I still watch. I still love them. So I had like an understanding of how movies work and cinematography and basic understanding or in film language.
Right.
And then I guess I do understand cameras a little bit just from the prior job. It's not nearly as high art or as artistic, but the basic rules are still the same of like, how things are shot and cameras and lenses and lighting and all those things. Yeah. So, that was it for me.
And I don't know, I've been really loving doing the channel because it's like, it's kind of opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that I would never like go actively watch for myself. Like I would, like I like what I like, and I just watch that on repeat. And so I'm like in this little box, and like I don't know.
You like comfort
I do,
movies,
yeah. So
comfort
like
movies and shows.
And so starting this channel, I'm watching stuff that I never would have watched on my own, and it's kind of like nifty to see a lot of different stuff.
Right, that motivation to push yourself to expand is a big part of the value here. I guess I want to ask, how has your relationship with film evolved over the last few years with the channel?
Cool. Well, I definitely learned a lot about myself, that I like various different things and not just like the couple of things that I thought that I liked. And I think I can find like stuff that I like in any sort of genre now, like, which is kind of nifty. Never really thought about that before.
I think, my appetite, I guess, towards specifically like American or Hollywood cinema has gone a lot wider. Because in the past, like it's the really really popular stuff that my like friends would drag me to go watch, like the Marvel things, the Lord of the Rings, or that's kind of it actually that I would go with and like pay attention to. But otherwise, like in the past, like when I go home, I'm usually either playing video games or watching something that I know that I'm comfortable with, which is like a John Woo action movie from the 90s or something like that, right? So now I kind of know what to look for and have another entire new category of stuff. So
yeah, that makes sense. Well, and so like you said, starting with those big franchises, Marvel, Star Wars, so on to speak, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, all the big blockbusters, cult classics. once you sort of get through those, I guess by today, what is the process of procuring, the selection of films that you even want to consider, putting on the list to react to?
It's all patron recommendations.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
we have like so many people with so many different like opinions and what they like. And so the amount of recommendations that we get are things that we've never even heard of is like, it's almost endless. It's like,
Yeah. We have a pretty big backlog from patrons.
Yeah.
And then we just pick from that. They vote on it. And then, I mean, we keep saying this to our patrons, which is the goal is one day go through their
100%.
entire list of
Yeah.
recommendations. But it's kind of growing faster than we can watch them.
Right.
And that's fine. It's just, I guess longevity.
It's a good problem to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually that's how it goes. As the channel grows, people end up building that relationship with their viewers or patrons that understand them, and they're able to recommend things they think they like. How has that community been for you? I guess growing over the years, starting with the initial feedback that you got when you first started the channel to now, do you have patrons and people that can watch you and understand who you are as individuals and what you might like?
I think so. I think there's a lot. Actually, quite often when a patron recommends something, it usually comes with I have a feeling Simone will cry over this, or I have a feeling George will, be very confused about this, or something along those lines. So I think they know our taste at this point.
totally.
And it's great because it really saves a big hassle for us of like, yeah. And I guess the other part is one thing that patron recommendations make our job a lot easier is that they recommend it because it's special to them.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie is meaningful to them, and there has to be a reason,
Right.
for that, right? No one just recommends someone to watch a movie that they don't really care about or don't really like.
Mm-hmm.
You recommend something because you like it. So therefore, for us, it's every film has been pretty enjoyable because there's a reason why someone loves it, and yeah, and we feel it too. So it's pretty great,
Right.
But just going back to your earlier question, like how it's changed, like how we watch film. I just have to say this because it's a real thing, and I don't want to be like a complaining person. But so George and I don't really we don't watch movies in the theater anymore. It's always like, when is it coming out?
yeah.
And that has, I feel like that's like the biggest thing is like, even if I want to go see it now, I have to wait, which is,
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it to watch it with, our patrons and people on YouTube and stuff. So,
yeah.
but that is, I'd be
we
lying
kinda
if
have
I
to-
said that wasn't a real thing of like, oh, cool. A bunch of my friends
yeah.
went to see Furiosa. Awesome. Cool. That's fine. I'll watch it when it comes out. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only hope we have is like for the cinematic experience is to hope that it gets a re-release in theaters
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
If Dune Part 2 gets a theatrical release second round,
Right.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool.
I'm definitely going, but I had to wait through
Yeah.
the initial round of release for the channel. Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, that window is getting shorter, it seems, these days,
Yeah.
from theater to streaming. So you have the opportunity to see it, at least when it's still kind of in the conversation of the culture. It's the reactor trap, I call it, getting in this and then, having to stave off
Totally.
those sort of things. Yeah. I've spoken with others too. Like my dream goal eventually would be like open a reactor theater, so to speak, one day,
Yeah.
is to have a theater that has like, isolated booths with like microphones and cameras and like deals with studios that would allow people to go and have a theater experience, that you can then record yourself in and share later once it's on VOD.
Oh my
that'd
gosh.
That'd be
would
ideal.
be
That would be
Great.
so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And another aspect I want to talk to, because that reminds me of Cassie from Popcorn in Bed. You had on the channel once, like she recently built her own home theater, sort of, replicate that experience.
Oh, wow.
So it's something that she's trying to, strive for as well. But that's an aspect I wanted to really touch upon, because what I love about this space is that synergy that channels can have, the, collaborations, the crossovers, stuff like that. And you've worked with some other reaction channels over the years to share that. Most recently with Mary Cherry, you did, Babe, and you did a couple of other reactions as well. What has that process been like, finding the channels and sort of reaching out to them and like getting that going?
It's been great.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Sometimes they reach out to us. Sometimes we reach out to them.
Yeah.
It's really just finding a schedule,
Totally.
right? Like a spot in the schedule that works. That's really it. And I guess the only real challenge is adjusting to the flow of conversation with things being said, because 3 people can feel very clustered
Right.
when talking during a movie. So we have to be more aware and more actively aware in like how to condense what we say into as short of a burst of a sentence as possible to get the point across and then stop.
Yeah.
Don't like converse.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. And lag.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my god. But yeah, working with other YouTubers, I always thought is like really awesome. And I've said this many times before, but like in the Reactorverse, we're never going to step on anyone's toes. That is never going to happen because
we're not competitors.
no, and I love that so much about this job because like every person is so different and they will always bring something new to whatever it is they're watching. And so like it's not like one person's only going to watch one reactor. No, you want so many people to watch this.
People binge watch the reactions of the same movie.
Yeah.
So we don't need to compete with each other, which is
I
great.
love it so much.
And like I think every single time when we have like an initial call kind of production meeting, so to speak, with another channel, it without a fail, there's always like a conversation point where we're like, oh, you have this problem too? Yeah, we have this problem too. Freaking YouTube doing this thing, or the Patreon doing this other thing. Yeah, and it's a very, very similar shared experience, and it makes it nice because you don't
not alone.
feel so alone with that problem that you're like, oh, it's not just us that have issues with this studio or this movie or that function on Patreon where people can't vote correctly or something. Like,
that shared experience is a big part of what we sort of strive for here with this podcast, and also just the efforts of Passionfruit in general is like you said, Simone, like having the understanding that no one's really a competitor in this space because everyone's so unique. Everyone's sort of voice is a unique experience, so you never really are taking something away from another channel with your own personal commentary on something. There's something to be gained from everyone.
Yeah.
Even between the two of us, I mean, like Simone feels every movie. I can't stop thinking, overthinking about it. Like so, and I think every channel has their own dynamic, and everybody prefers, like viewers prefers different people to watch with, right? Essentially in the movie, I think we tend to joke more, and it's not everybody's thing, but clearly enough people like it that we can keep it going.
That makes sense. Another aspect I wanted to touch upon, because I can't help myself but to ask, is the thumbnails for the channel. One of my favorite aspects of it, for sure. It's been an evolution over the years. Developing that. I guess what was the process of that like? Getting to the point where you have them now, but also what is the sort of, standard procedure to put those together week to week?
Simone, you want to reenact it right now?
Okay, well, I think that because I don't know, I feel like after we're done the movie, we try to think of like the funniest moment or like the most like impactful moment. And then we're like, okay, well, how can we make it silly? And how can we put our faces on there?
Yeah, it helps when a movie has costumes.
Yes.
It's harder when it's just people in plain clothes, because then it's just us in plain clothes. That's essentially what happens, right? Because I map one of our faces onto a character and it just looks like us wearing those clothes, which is kind of more boring. So we have to find a scene or some specific thing that can fit into that little square, because it's about 2/3 of a thumbnail size. So it has to fit in there. It can't be a wide thing. It can't be a wide shot. Right. It has to be a shot that's like medium or close up of a character.
Like, I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, but one of our recent thumbnails is from, can I talk about this? From Click?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't even know what you're going to say, but go ahead. Yeah.
Where Adam Sandler is farting in front of David Hasselhoff's face. And so our thumbnail is just his, like, a butt. And then me going, like, because that's
Yeah,
because
it's
to
stuff like
us
that,
that's
yeah.
the funniest thing that we could do. So it's like
Because we're five.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the process basically is just me looking at the screenshot or the the exact moment that we're gonna make the thumbnail, and then Simone shares her screen or shares her
The
OBS. I
OBS.
can see her, and then I go, okay, turn your head to the left a little bit, because I'm trying to get her face to be angled
Right.
correctly.
Yeah.
Tilt your chin up a little bit and look at the camera, and then make this expression, and then
Basically, George
That's it.
has minutes and minutes and minutes of really embarrassing footage of me going, like it's just so dumb.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's myself trying to like take a screenshot, like turning in weird angles and still see what I'm
I'm
doing.
always so impressed with your face and the end result. It's so good. I love it so much.
It's very rubbery.
Yeah. I always get a kick out of seeing them pop up in my feed. And just,
That's good.
I know it's there.
If it gives people a chuckle, that's what we're going for.
Does that help you come down at all? From like a heavy reaction or like, like a large, like a really emotionally invested reaction.
Well, I mean, for ones where it's like really emotional, I think that our thumbnails, we try not to be silly because we want to take the movie seriously. And so like
Especially if it's based on
100%.
real events. Right?
Yeah. We want to be respectful.
I'm not
and-
gonna make a funny thumbnail of Schindler's List. Like that would be so
Yeah,
messed up.
Jesus.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, some movies I think that like afterwards it does take a little bit of recovery time to like, because you really just go through all the things. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no silly thumbnails for serious movies about real people and real lives. Because
Although we did do that for Aaron Brockovich, so maybe.
Can have a little bit of humor injected, like sometimes. You mentioned, the expanding your palette, so to speak, with movies and stuff like that. Have there been any genres in particular that you've found yourself gravitating towards over the years?
I definitely like I'm excited to watch horror movies now, even though they still scare the crap out of me. Like I would never like go seek out a horror movie to watch, but now it's kind of like it's still scary, but it's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess this sounds like such a guy cliche thing to say, but like rom-coms, but it's a big part of it is because I'm watching with Simone. So like
Right.
every single time I'm like, I can see why you are
The way that you are. Jeez.
I mean, being able to share that with one another is valuable. That's my next question. Actually, is like, have you been able to learn more about each other? Through those films and sort of like being able to share experiences of films that you were sharing from one to another, or like learning about together in that sense.
I don't know.
I actually, more than anything else, I've learned like a lot more about Simone's work habits.
Oh,
like
is it bad?
no, not in a bad way. No. Not in a bad way. Well, because why would I know your work habits?
That's
before
true.
this,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
yeah.
we never worked at the same job together. I don't know how
Yeah.
you work.
Yeah.
So now I understand like the flow and like, just like preparation need that everybody, we each need,
Mm-hmm.
and that's But otherwise, like we've been friends for a really long time, so I kind of know what you like and what you find funny.
Yeah, I feel like
And what-
George
what you find sad.
George has yet to surprise me. We'll see.
There's like there's some subjects in movies that affects both of us a lot for like personal reasons, but like humor wise, especially humor wise, I know what Simone finds funny, and I think
Yeah,
what
I think
I find
so.
funny too, which is why I think sometimes we just like laugh for no
Yeah,
reason while seemingly no reason while watching a movie. It's because I know what she's thinking and she knows what I'm thinking,
Right.
and then no one else understands what's going on, so they're like, are you laughing at the movie?
Oh god, we suck so bad.
Yeah, that shorthand could be a big help sometimes. Just getting yourself through it. Yeah. Over the years with the channel, now that you have, 100K. You passed 100K a while ago, so congrats on that.
Thanks.
It's
Thank you.
you know, it's been a journey for yourself, just trying to, you know, like you said, carve out your own unique voice in the space. With the films that you're covering now, do you have an easier time articulating, you know, the on the fly, you know, criticism and sort of analysis that it takes to sort of have the channel going?
I mean, probably better than before. I hope so.
I think
but
so.
still missteps.
Yeah.
I think I sometimes come off a lot harsher than I intended, maybe, or a lot like I guess I sound very criticizing sometimes. So that's still something I have to like work on and remember to like be careful how I sound. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. For the channel itself, do you have any sort of future plans or, you know, aspirations you have for it, whether it's, you know, just more movies or like, you know, future collabs you want to try or anything like that?
I'd definitely be down for more collaborations with people. I always have a really good time with that. And as far as future plans, I don't know.
I mean, we are working on something, but I don't know if that's like ready to be
it's
shared yet. It's on Patreon. Patrons know what we're talking about, but we're still not sure if it's something that feels right for us or like if it's if it's something that might be a permanent thing. But we're beta testing with the patrons essentially.
yeah.
Good. Yeah. Early days. Yeah. And one of the questions we always ask everyone here is, what has been the most consistent obstacle you've faced in your time with the channel?
Ooh.
I mean, aside from copyright, I think I'm guessing that's like everyone's answer.
Pretty common. Yeah.
The copyright is definitely a big issue.
I mean, for me, it's like self-criticism and like I just, you know, I need to love myself a little bit more because I have like you know, dark thoughts of like, no one likes you ever, you know, like, what do you even like, why are you even here, like, why are you even saying those things, like, no one cares what you think, like, you know, those sort of like late night thoughts of I'm I don't know, not good enough to be here kind of thing,
right?
Yeah, especially when it comes in forms of comments or like DMs on other platforms. It takes effort to remind yourself that even at the 10th message or 20th message that to the other person, we're not like a person that they're speaking to directly. It's just like some visuals on a screen. There's that gap of like human to human interaction. So they tend to say things. People can say things that are a lot crueler and a lot more awful than they ever would when it's face to face, especially when it's just a name, when it's just some text on screen, right? Because and then when you're typing it, you write things that are a lot more visceral than you would ever speak out loud. So it's that kind of thing that I have to remind myself, you know, it's the internet. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that like people who are, you know, being mean are they're going through some shit too. And like, I try not to take it personally.
Try not to take it personally. Yeah.
It's an important step I think everyone has to go through, especially in this space. To learn. How do you feel you've personally grown over the years with the channel?
Definitely try not to be no, I'm a lot less obsessed with like getting it exactly right.
Ooh, that's hard.
Now.
Yeah.
I think if we had to rename CineBinge, I would probably call it Good Enough Productions. I'm learning that 80% is fine. It doesn't need to be perfect.
Right.
Yeah. That's one big thing. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I think that I like when I watch movies now, like there's how do I describe it? I'm so bad with words. I apologize profusely.
No problem at all.
But like, I think how I've grown is like when I'm watching movies with George, it's like I really try to, like I try to be as vulnerable as possible, which is like so silly because literally what I just said is like, oh, I'm worried about being judged and stuff. But at the same time, you got to like, I think that from the start of the channel is that like as much as it's scary, I'll try to show people like the real me. And like, so the reactions that people are getting are like, I try to like open up and really feel everything that I'm watching. And therefore, like, I don't know. Does that make sense? I'm so bad at explaining things.
Absolutely.
No, because like your whole childhood, right? You're raised to be like, try not to make a scene. You try to hold back when you're crying in front of other people, or you feel something, you try to like fight back the tears.
Yeah.
You try to not laugh and cackle too loudly in a public place. You try to do all those things. Try to be polite.
The growing is like an unlearning of things, really. Yeah.
But it's a healthy thing, I feel like,
agree.
to be able to just express how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah. That's really one of my favorite things about the React space, going back to what we said before about everyone having a unique, voice in the space, is that, when you're able to express yourself as you are, that's what I enjoy watching the most is I see, who you are, like exactly, why this is impacting you on a very specific level. It's not just, saying the sort of things that I would feel, I want to hear. I want to, feel what you're feeling in that sense and sort of learn from that experience. It's very important to me, I guess, as a fan of the space, as someone who's been watching it for a long time. So I think you guys achieved that very well.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
And beyond any monetary or financial value, what has been the most rewarding aspect of the channel for you?
I don't want to be all sappy, but I'm gonna get to hang out with one of my best friends. Like,
now I have to think of.
No, you don't. You don't.
Or just as good
That could be a
answer.
good answer for both ways.
No,
Yeah.
I think that like, especially since George moved away, like now we get to hang out and it's great.
Yeah, our friends have all kind of scattered across the planet,
Yeah.
so it's getting harder to. And then some of them are having kids, and they think it's all their fault. But it's definitely harder to have that hangout time now.
Right.
So this helps a lot. It's my social battery
Totally.
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. I guess the other part is like I despite having recently posted a couple of travel shorts, I do like being at home. Like, I can just not leave for
I feel
days
that.
and days and feel very happy. So that's actually a pretty great benefit, is not having to go outside or put pants on or anything.
Right.
We are definitely both wearing pants for this interview. Do not worry.
Good to know. We do have our final questionnaire that we give to everyone. It's just 10 questions down the line, so you can each answer yourself for what feels right. The first question being, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh,
Of all time.
Mm-hmm.
of all time.
I have
Okay,
one.
go.
It's the 2010 Three Kingdoms. It's a Chinese historical drama about the romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Oh.
I've seen that one, actually, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I think it's all on YouTube.
Yeah.
The whole thing's on YouTube.
Mainly
Nice.
because of Dynasty Warriors, then getting introduced to that
Yeah.
era of, the history. So I was interested in seeing it when it came out, yeah.
Yeah, Three Kingdoms.
Cool.
Simone?
I mean, I have to go with like something that I just like will rewatch all the time, which is like TNG, Star Trek.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
It's,
Yeah, it's a good one.
yeah.
What is your favorite film of all time?
Ooh, I mean, like I literally have a giant Lord of the Rings poster back there, but if we're not including that,
include that, yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's a Stephen Chow movie from 1995 called A Chinese Odyssey. I think that's the English name. It's basically the Journey to the West story, but a comedy one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this question, like, I love it so much because it depends on the day for me. It like
Oh, totally.
if I'm feeling like, sort of like introspective or like if I'm feeling like adventure, like it just right now in this very moment, I think that my favorite movie is Frances Ha. That's what I'm feeling today.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. It's a great mood to be in.
Who am
What
I?
stresses you out?
What stresses us out? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I think it's easier to answer what doesn't
Oh.
stress. Go
Oh
on.
god, like I get like so many things.
This moment right now.
I can do it.
Like on a day to day, I think like what stresses me out is like, I don't know. Oh gosh, like so many things. I'll think about it for a
Okay,
second.
you know what?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go first, and then you can think about it. Every morning when I wake up, there's a brief moment of stress and worry of, am I gonna see another demonetized notification email?
Yeah.
That's number one. I guess the second thing that stresses me out is, I mean, it does come from the channel, which is like at any moment it can be taken away. At any moment, YouTube can change some rules
That's true. Yeah.
about an entire category of things because they do retroactive,
Right.
right? They retroactively apply rules to old videos. You never know what might happen one day, and then just like
Nothing.
entire
Yeah.
catalogs of stuff disappears.
Wow.
That's scary.
That is really scary.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
So I guess that, yeah.
Totally valid.
Simone?
I'm stressed out that my cats are going to die someday.
That's also very valid.
Yeah.
I think about
Yeah.
that a lot. Sorry to bring it down.
Don't worry. I've lots of dogs, and it's sometimes it passes through, and you just got to sort of move past. You got to power through in your day with those thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can happen. Please, I was going to ask, on the flip side of that, what helps you relax?
Ooh. Video games. A lot of video
Good.
games,
Yeah, that's-
reading.
That's an easy one. Yeah.
Which is really funny because I've been seeing a lot of stuff recently of like, what helps you relax? Oh, video games, and then cut to them playing Elden Ring and just rage quitting, like, which
Yeah.
is what I do.
Yeah. I mean, like I like to cook, especially like experimenting with weird, specific niche ingredients.
Right.
That's always fun for me. But recently, I'm finding a lot of de-stress, and this sounds like a shameless plug. It's not. It's working on the history side channel project that I have.
Cool.
It's because I get to like read about crazy odd events of, you know, that's what the channel is, right? Specific events in every year.
Yeah.
And I'm reading about them like, oh yeah, 20,000 people died in Rome in 27 AD. My problems are not that bad.
That's what I was gonna say too. Of like, what stresses you out? I'm like, on the grand scale of things, shit, we have it good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not ignorant to the fact that we are, yeah, we got it good.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but those were the things de-stressing. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. This might lead into the next question. Is what hobby or passion do you have outside of TV and film?
Go on. Simone?
D&D. That's my
Ooh,
my
nice.
true love. Is TTRPGs.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I could talk about it all day. I will try not to. I won't like overwhelm the podcast with the talk of the campaign I'm in right now, but it's just good.
We'll have to have another episode just for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I guess travel when I can. I love history stuff, so you know, I try to go to all the historical sites
Right.
whenever time is available. Otherwise, I just read about it and then write about it and then make a video out of it. That's actually my fun hobby right now.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great one. What fictional character do you relate to or just care deeply about?
Ooh, that I relate to or care deeply about. Do you remember that movie Turning Red? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. That Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The girl that turns into a panda. It's just that story of like the literally Chinese immigrant living in Canada.
Right.
And then the divergence of the kids growing up experience of living in a different culture, you know, separating from their parents' culture. That movie hit me really hard. So I feel like I relate to that character the most of everything we've watched. Yeah.
Oh gosh. I don't know.
It's okay. Don't want to put anyone on the spot here.
Okay. Come back to me. Come back to me.
If anything comes to mind, feel free to jump in. Yeah, with that. The next question would be, what is your guilty pleasure show or film?
Guilty pleasure.
If we're going like
Guilty
full
pleasure. I don't feel
on,
guilty about watching anything.
yeah, that's the
answer
kind of the
also.
thing. But like, I kind of, when I hear guilty pleasure, I kind of think of like, what would you be embarrassed to admit that you like watching? Is kind of, and for me, it's reality TV.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah,
hard.
it is. It is. But yeah, like I've watched all of the Love Is Blind show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Don't worry, it's a pretty common answer. Yeah.
I feel guilty for watching it. I'm like, I could be doing so many other things at this time. Yeah.
So sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need those shows to just sort of like, you know, just zone in on. Don't have to worry about other things. Yeah.
I don't have to think. I don't have to. You just enjoy the chaos.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing really. I didn't really feel bad. I'm pretty shameless.
That's a fair answer too. Yeah, I'll take that. I like that as well. I've definitely heard that before. What show or film gave you your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
Ooh.
Favorite reaction experience? Oh, this is really mean, but I like the ones that I can mess with.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Sixth Sense. I still love that.
I think for me, I think it's maybe Alien. Because I'm just like, I remember way back, it was like really early on, and it was just like, I don't know. I remember having so much fun, and it was so insane. And like, after we were like done, we were like, just like, I just remember like laughing at how ridiculous we were. And just like, but it was just what it is. I don't know. So maybe Alien.
Yeah.
I think that was like, yeah.
I guess probably a second one, and I did really enjoy the few movies I did with my dad.
Oh yeah.
I hated translating it because it took for freaking ever, and he kept using idioms and phrases that I have no idea how to translate. So the research for it took a while, but it was fun. It's just, you know.
Yeah, I love that you guys did that.
Especially now that my dad lives on the other side of the country, so I get to actually spend some time with him when the rare occasion he comes out. So yeah. So that was fun.
Of course,
Nice.
yeah, it's very special to have those on camera, for sure. Those experiences. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Besides Lord of the Rings,
I mean, yeah, that would
Good
be
answer.
amazing. Yeah, Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings for sure.
that feels like probably a very common answer too.
Yeah.
I still really love Godfather 2, Part 2. So I probably would want to rewatch that again, even though the first time was just on the channel and it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, that for me.
Actually, most recently, like the one we just like literally just watched, I was so impressed with it, and it was like, I don't think that if like I watched it again, it would be as magical because I know what happens. But Men in Black 3. I'm still so impressed with that, and like because I don't think like watching it, knowing what's gonna happen, it'll totally be different. I would want to like always just watch that for the first time because it was.
Yeah, that was.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but it was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And the final question here is, what advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
Ooh. Oh my god, especially at the very beginning, be way more careful with the copyright editing because we lost a lot of stuff in the beginning. Probably that.
I would say, hey, you chill out. just it's everything. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be, just be you. And that's it. Yeah.
I think we were both a lot more stressed than we needed to be, you know, like try to be likable or like hope that people don't find us awful or
like just,
you know, can we meet the deadlines, schedules, all that crap.
Or like I think back to like intros, our like first intros were so long and like we're trying to get all the information out there. Yeah. And it was just, it felt so like, just okay. Just it doesn't have to be like, if anything, it's better to be more relaxed than it is to be like, oh, I'm going to say all the right things, give all the right information so everyone knows that, you know. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why we like now do the joke intros where Simone says anything but the channel name, because at some point people started mishearing what you said and we were like, let's just go with it, because someone heard CineBinge and then CineBitch and then like, and we're like, let's just go with it, right? But at some point it clicked in for me, which is like, why are we so rigid about the channel intro? People know what the channel is. It's right there. That's why they clicked on it. They know what it
also
is.
Like it's every video. It's a reminder for me anyway, is that like not to take yourself so seriously and things are we're just having fun.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's good advice. Good advice to I think anyone starting or still just working in the space. Just, being comfortable in your own skin is a very valuable reminder to have.
Make sure your audio is good.
Also very good. Also very important.
Because I feel like people can, like, I can sit through a video that's maybe like the video quality is not great, but if there's like audio noises, I'm like, it's hard. Like, I don't know if you watched Critical Role. It's a D&D show. But their first few episodes on Twitch on Geek and Sundry, their audio was like not good, and it's a struggle to get through, but I did, and they're great anyway. But good audio
worth it. Yeah, we always advocate for good audio over here for sure.
Oh god, this reminded me how much I hate your old neighbors.
I know.
The thumping person living above you, and it was always timed to filming.
It was the craziest thing. Like, that's why in some videos you'll see like this mic, which is supposed to be like this, was like upside down because they're trying to like avoid the noise from the neighbors. Oh my god!
And because you also like your old place was an old building, so like the walls and floors were pretty thin, and it was just thump all day long. And so trying to get rid of those background noise. Now there's a different noise that's actually liked by people.
Oh my god, I was like, what are you getting at?
People really like that now, so it's
it's good ASMR. So the good audio, good neighbors, good cats. Good,
there you go.
George, Simone, thank you so much for being here today. We loved getting a chance to chat to you guys, learn all about the channel history and everything, amongst you two. Where can we find you online? YouTube, social media, or otherwise?
Ooh.
I mean, CineBinge React, that's the channel. Social media, we're so bad at it. I don't remember what my Instagram is.
Our Instagram is CineBinge channel, I think.
I think you should just Google CineBinge.
I'll have it below. We'll have links down below.
Sweet. I'm also on Instagram as Simone Swan. I also have a Twitch channel where I play video games at Simone Swan. And that's,
And I guess the history channel is year by year.
Nice.
Year by year. That's what it's called. So
we'll make sure have that below.
Cool. That's it. Thanks so much, Eric. This is great.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
thank you for inviting us.
Of course, happy to have you. You can find me at Nerdchronic across social media. You can find us at Passionfruit for us across social media as well. You'll see our links to Discord and Patreon down below, and we'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Yay!